I could think that he was going to shoot me. He was going to kill me. He did things to me that I didn't think a police officer would do.
And I was scared. I felt like I had to do that. He's in control. He's the police. He has the badge. And, I'm handcuffed to a bed.
There's always been a darker side to law enforcement. Some officers break their oath, crossing the line into corruption and crime. But what's even more shocking? Their reactions when justice finally catches up. Some show rare flashes of remorse.
Just would like to say that I'm remorseful for the incident that took place.
Others dodge responsibility, pointing fingers to save themselves.
He was my boss, so, I'm gonna do what he says do.
And then there are those who stand defiant, angry, unbothered, and unrepentant.
Hold on to the truth that I did not commit these crimes. My conscience is clear.
I'm not an advocate for or against use of force. Everything I did on that day was based on my training and experience.
In this video, we're taking a closer look at how some corrupt officers react when the verdict drops and the mask comes off. Zachary Wester. Meet Zachary Wester, a 30-year-old former sheriff's deputy from northern Florida, now a convicted felon. Wester was found guilty on a long list of charges, including planting drugs on innocent people. He faced 67 charges in total, including racketeering, evidence tampering, kidnapping, and possessing illegal substances. Here's how he pulled it off. During routine traffic stops, often for minor violations, Wester would secretly plant meth or other drugs in drivers' cars. Then he'd arrest them.
So you're going to go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, for possession of drug paraphernalia.
I go to work, I come home,
Okay.
I sleep, I go back to work.
Okay.
I don't hang out, party, I don't...
I've got to test this. Have you ever seen this before?
No.
Okay.
No, what is that?
It did field test presumptive positive for methamphetamine. Okay? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If I read you your rights, will you talk to me?
I talked to you, man.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man, I ain't just... Dude, I'm...
We're going to get there. We're going to get
Innocent people ended up behind bars, their lives ruined, while Wester racked up arrests and padded his resume. One of his victims, Teresa Odom, was devastated when she found out she'd been framed.
You've robbed me of my credibility being a mother and a grandmother for the last 3 years. I've probably missed 1.5 years of my grandbaby's life because of this. I wish you no ill will, and you'll never know what you've done to me until you have children of your own. So.
His downfall? His own body cam footage and a stash of evidence found in a hidden compartment in his patrol car. Drugs he planned to plant. As for why he did it, prosecutors say Wester was trying to make a name for himself and climb the ranks, specifically, to land a spot in the narcotics division. But in court, he denied everything, saying he never planted any drugs. Still, the jury didn't buy it. Wester was sentenced to 12 years and 6 months in prison. He had already spent 58 days in jail by the time of sentencing, and those days were credited toward his sentence. He'll now serve the rest in a state prison. The next case involved a former county sheriff who turned out to be, well, a thief, Charlie Reeder. Reeder was caught stealing money from drug busts and using it to fund his gambling addiction. Around $5,000 went missing. His job was to uphold the law. Instead, he was breaking it while feeding slot machines. When he got caught, Reeder tried the oldest trick in the book. He told the court, with tears in his eyes, that he'd only taken the money to help the community. Yeah, right. He gave a long, emotional speech before sentencing, practically begging the judge to spare him prison time. But the judge wasn't buying it. As part of his plea deal, Reeder was permanently banned from ever working in public office again in Ohio. His sentence? 6.5 years in prison. But because his charges run concurrently, he'll only serve 3 years behind bars. The next cop is even dirtier than Reeder, and he also had it worse in court. Numan Raja. Former officer Numan Raja was convicted of 2 serious crimes: manslaughter by culpable negligence and attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. Here's what happened. In 2015, Raja was working an undercover assignment, dressed in plain clothes and driving an unmarked van. He spotted a car on the side of the highway. Inside was Corey Jones, a 31-year-old black man, a musician and a housing inspector, whose car had broken down. Jones was waiting for roadside help. He was legally carrying a firearm for protection. Raja approached without identifying himself as a police officer. Things escalated quickly. Raja later claimed Jones pointed the gun at him. But prosecutors said that was a lie, and that Jones was running away when Raja fired 6 shots, hitting him 3 times and killing him. The case sparked outrage, not just for what happened, but because it was part of a wider pattern of police violence against black men. The judge called the trial heartbreaking and said it deeply affected everyone involved. The sentence? 25 years for each charge, to be served at the same time. And now, it gets even darker with the next officer. Michael Daughtreau. We're going to Edison, New Jersey, where former officer Michael Daughtreau took revenge to a terrifying level. After clashing with fellow cops and supervisors during his career, Daughtreau decided to retaliate. On May 23, 2013, he set fire to his boss's house. Inside were his boss, the man's wife, 2 children, and a 92-year-old grandmother. The fire broke out at 4 a.m. The house was badly damaged, but, miraculously, no one was hurt. Daughtreau didn't speak a word during the 1-hour court hearing. But the charges spoke loud and clear. He faced attempted murder, aggravated arson, official misconduct, conspiracy to retaliate, and witness tampering. That wasn't all. He had also accessed police records to spy on an ex-girlfriend and gave information to his wife about another woman involved in an unrelated case. He even admitted to plotting revenge on an officer who had ticketed someone else for drunk driving. This man wasn't just bitter, he was dangerous. His sentence included 20 years for attempted murder, 10 years for arson, 10 years for misconduct, 5 years for witness tampering, and 18 months for conspiracy to retaliate. All sentences will be served at the same time. He won't be in prison forever, but he's not walking free anytime soon. The next cop turned a hospital into a war zone. Lester Bonenblust. Lester Bonenblust, a former sheriff's deputy, turned a hospital into a war zone. Here's what happened. A man was being treated in the emergency room. Bonenblust believed that man had a weapon and posed a threat, so what did he do? He walked in, gun drawn, and fired at least 4 times into the hospital hallway. In his mind, he was neutralizing a threat. But what he actually did was fire his weapon in a public hospital, endangering patients, doctors, and nurses. He claimed the man had a gun. But video surveillance and body cam footage revealed the man was not armed. And even if he was, the suspect was already in custody. He was being treated under medical supervision. Bonenblust's actions were reckless, completely unnecessary.
I was never ever expected to be grabbed from the back and thrown from side to side, to a point where I was yelling at the top of my lungs, help, help.
The court agreed. He was convicted of wanton endangerment involving a firearm and use of a firearm during the commission of a felony. His punishment was 5 years behind bars. He was escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs. The next case shook the entire nation. Daniel Holtzclaw, a former Oklahoma City police officer. A man who hunted his victims in broad daylight, not with a weapon but with authority. Holtzclaw targeted black women, most of them poor, many with criminal records. He would pull them over, threaten arrest, and then mistreat them, right there behind buildings in his patrol car or in their own homes.
I was scared. I felt like I had to do that. He's in control. He's the police. He has the badge. And, you know, I'm handcuffed to a bed.
All I could think that he was going to shoot me. He was going to kill me. He did things to me that I didn't think a police officer would do.
He chose women he thought wouldn't be believed. Women whose voices he assumed wouldn't matter. But he was wrong.
I have no record. I didn't do anything wrong. So I was innocent, and he just picked the wrong lady to stop that night.
In 2014, one woman came forward. Then another. And another. 13 women in total. Holtzclaw's own GPS data confirmed their stories. It showed his patrol car at the exact locations the victims described, at the exact times. During trial he sat and cried. But the jury saw through it. He was found guilty on 18 counts, including maltreatment, forcible oral sodomy, and battery. He was sentenced to 263 years in prison. And not 1 day less.